one of the most forgettable teams that was clearly supposed to be the contrary, the New Breed. The faction as a whole is of course a platform for talent. They're going to take over ECW and dominate with the blessings of Mr. McMahon. And I don't really got much of an intro because the team lasted for, 3 months. But I'll give background to the men in the group. Elijah Burke, the often perceived leader of the New Breed. Burke was legit. He had a background in amateur boxing, finding success winning 102 matches by knockout, and the one match he failed to win was based on a technicality. This was back in the mid-2000s when WWE brought in MMA, amateur boxing wrestlers more often, and because of this, he was paired with Sylvester Turkai. The duo didn't last for long, and Burke was all alone on SmackDown. In other places, Matt Striker burst onto the scene as the, quote, disgraced teacher. He made headlines for calling in sick to school and instead wrestling elsewhere. Soon he was signed to WWE as the Dean Douglas of the 2000s. He was mostly a jobber. His weapons consisted of erasers and sticks, and he was a good hand, because he knew how to talk. Marcus Corvin is widely considered to be the man with the most potential for the New Breed. His agility combined with his look and intensity made Monty Brown a star to watch in TNA. Ultimately, they never pulled the trigger on him, so he went to the WWE. Kevin Thorne was once a scholar, now a vampire. He stood out easily for being the darkest character on ECW, and so that's the group. On the January 30th, 2007 episode of ECW, Mr. McMahon trashed the ECW Originals for all kinds of reasons. At the same time, he praised Elijah Burke, and so they opted to send him through a table. The following week, he called them a never has-beens, criminals, and called them rejects. McMahon wanted to remind them that he's the boss and booked them in matches for later that night. Not all of them though, because that's terrible. They didn't want to see all the ECW Originals wrestle because it's too much for him. A while later, the referee for Tommy Dreamer's match, Matt Striker, screwed him over, leading to Kevin Thorne's victory. Marcus Corvin submitted Balls Mahoney, and in the main event, Elijah Burke defeated Rob Van Dam. Because of the no interference rule, the ECW Originals finally came out and sent them running. The 5 men were heavily praised by Mr. McMahon, and since they had something in common, they were now a faction. Good on paper, you got some young guys, you're going to push them one now, but the execution, though, that's a different story. Both sides went at it the next week in tag team matches. Corvin and Thorne found success, and Burke and Striker followed up. In light of last week, the New Breed challenged any of the ECW Originals for a one-on-one match, and at this point, I'm exhausted from the matches. It doesn't sound like they competed a lot, but trust me, they did. This time, Van Dam beat Thorne, and it led to a 6-man tag. Once again, the New Breed emerged victorious, and the Originals looked pissed. Babyfaces bounced back with Van Dam finally beating Elijah, and in light of all of this, Tommy Dreamer challenged them to a match at WrestleMania. The ECW Originals versus the New Breed. This was seen as something huge for the ECW brand Originals. I mean, these men were competing in Philadelphia, almost dying on a weekly basis, fighting in the parking lot, whatever, but now they're teaming together on the biggest stage. The match was set for the show, but the problem, though, is you had to see a bunch of their matches before WrestleMania. Matches such as this Battle Royal. I, being the Battle Royal show, found some enjoyment from this one. At the same time, Elijah Burke wanted a certain straight-edge individual to join the New Breed. Burke thought Punk would be a huge acquisition to the group, and he tried convincing him, saying that the New Breed would be there for him at WrestleMania. Even though he never gave them a straight answer, they aided him in his victory against Hardcore Holly. He was anything but happy, and again, Burke reiterated his statement. WrestleMania and Money in the Bank, think about what the New Breed could do for you. All that was missing was a business card. At WrestleMania, the New Breed took a new beating. And the thing that's very memorable about this one isn't the match itself, but the fact that the ECW Originals finally shined on the biggest stage possible. The only other moment I remember from the match is when Van Dam sent Striker in the air with a monkey flip, and Striker became Billy Kidman for a second, quitting in the middle of the air. Other than that, amazing for the Originals to feature on the show. On ECW, CM Punk was still on the New Breed's radar. Corvin, though, didn't want Punk to mess around. He's either with them or against them, and they wanted him to see the destruction they cause in the main event. Why? Because they were facing the ECW Originals in an Extreme Rules match. Why wasn't this on the WrestleMania card? I don't know, but regardless, this was a nice, entertaining brawl. There was a bunch of ridiculous spots, and to top it all off, tables were broken. The New Breed emerged victorious, and to understand how good this match was, if WWE had a Best of 2007 DVD, this match would be in there for sure. The following week, and I don't know why this isn't on the network, CM Punk joined the New Breed. He just randomly stood next to them, and they lifted him up, signaling his arrival. Punk was somewhat with the New Breed, but still didn't explain why he joined the group. Burke praised him, calling him the most modest wrestler in ECW before Rob Van Dam interrupted. He was frustrated with Punk turning down the Originals for the New Breed, and Burke was talking the talk, but Van Dam wanted to fight. He ended up accepting after Punk got involved. This was the first of many incidents. CM Punk felt that Burke was scared of RVD and even admitted this to his face. It also didn't help that Punk was out here giving the New Breed advice like he's the leader of the group. To make matters worse, he cost Elijah Burke his match against Rob Van Dam. Punk knew that all the attention was on him, whether it be trying to take leadership of the group or screwing over Elijah Burke. It got to a point where he was regretting recruiting CM Punk until Marcus Corvin placed the blame on him and the others, made it seem like Burke was overthinking things. They're like, oh, he's harmless, he's doing nothing, But anyways, later that night, the New Breed in the Originals match goes down. This is the 100th match. This time, it's elimination rules. During the match, Punk randomly kicked Burke in the back of the head, leading to the victory for Rob Van Dam. The straight edge wrestler took it a step further, delivering a GTS and apologizing. At this point, he was out of the New Breed, and Burke thought it was right to take leadership again, because the moment he let himself go, things went awry. Problem was, the guys weren't exactly all in with this. After Kevin Thorne took an L to Punk, he quit the New Breed after the group failed to save him. It went from bad to worse as Stryker and Corvan lost later that night. Stryker was signaled out from speaking because of this, and Burke meanwhile was set to face CM Punk on Judgment Day. The match itself was decent but lengthy. As a matter of fact, this was the longest match in the show. Punk emerged victorious, and it reflected badly on the leader of the New Breed. Even then, he was still blaming Matt Stryker for the loss from 2 weeks earlier. With Burke finally focusing on CM Punk and Rob Van Dam, he found results, and I ain't talking about bad results. At one point, they sent Punk through a table, leading to a tag team tables match between the New Breed, Tommy Dreamer, CM Punk, and the Sandman. This was a tag team tables match. They got destroyed, as expected, and after this, the New Breed was all but over. So that does it. Honestly, this run was terrible. They formed this faction. They're like, don't waste my time, whatever Elijah Burke's song is. Problem is, they wasted everybody's time, whether it be somebody in the group or us. Another problem is they had a lot of rematches with the ECW Originals. Like, I get it, there's 4 or 5 of them, and the roster's light, but it was far too much. Now, had the New Breed been on SmackDown or Raw, we wouldn't have that problem. They'd be feuding with Carlito, freaking Super Crazy or whoever, but you wouldn't see the amount of rematches as you did here. It also didn't help that the team was talking about how they're the new guys, whatever, and they failed to find success. So it was a nothing run. Add to that, they weren't really built up that much. They didn't face other guys outside of the Originals. And so that's a minor thing that I feel hurts them, you know. They didn't establish themselves, they didn't talk in promos, talk about what they are, what they're all about, yada, yada, yada. Because while making this video, there wasn't that many promos from the New Breed. I honestly expected more while making this video, but that wasn't the case. Alright, what did you guys think of the New Breed? Please comment down below, and that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the Elijah Express on the like button, and perhaps the GTS on the subscribe button. Peace, I'm out.